Hello, and welcome to Senior Wise Journey. Have you ever felt a subtle shift, not just in your body, but in the way you see the world as the years roll by? It's a common experience, a quiet transition that can sometimes lead us down paths we never intended. We might find ourselves clinging to yesterday's stories, feeling a bit lost in today's fast-paced world, or perhaps letting go of the very habits that once made us feel vibrant and alive. These aren't failures. They are human moments, unspoken truths of aging that many of us face, but few of us talk about. Today, we're going to change that. We're not here to dwell on the negative. Instead, we're going to uncover these challenging habits, understand their roots, and, most importantly, discover powerful, practical strategies to transform them. This isn't about fighting aging. It's about embracing wisdom. It's about ensuring that these golden years aren't just golden in name, but that they become your most meaningful, joyful, and connected years yet. Let's begin this journey together. Part 1. Beyond the rearview mirror, embracing the power of now. There's a certain comfort in the rearview mirror, isn't there? The roads are familiar, the landscapes etched in our memory. The past is a beautiful, powerful album of our lives filled with first loves, career triumphs, the laughter of children, and the lessons learned from our stumbles. It's the story of who we are, and honoring that story is essential. But what happens when we spend so much time looking in that rearview mirror that we forget to watch the road ahead? This is one of the most subtle yet profound challenges we can face in our senior years, the habit of letting the past become not just a part of our life, but our entire world. It often starts innocently. A family gathering where we recount, for the 10th time, that hilarious story from a vacation in the 82nd, or a quiet afternoon spent sifting through old photographs, a sweet melancholy washing over us. These are moments of connection and reflection. The danger arises when remember becomes our only conversation starter, when the glow of nostalgia becomes so bright that it blinds us to the beauty of the present moment. We risk becoming curators of a museum that only we want to visit. Our children and grandchildren, while they may love us dearly, can start to tune out. They live in a world of immediate experiences, of new trends, new technologies, and new dreams. When our narrative is solely anchored in a time they never knew, a gap begins to form. It's not a gap of love, but a gap of relevance. We inadvertently send a message that our story is finished, that the best chapters have already been written. This attachment to the past is often rooted in something deeper than simple nostalgia. It can be a defense mechanism against the uncertainties of the present. The world is changing at a dizzying pace. The technology, the social norms, even the language, it can all feel alienating. The past, in contrast, is safe. It's a place where we knew the rules, where we were in our prime, where we felt a sense of control and purpose. Clinging to it can be a way of holding on to our identity in a world that seems to have less and less space for the one we once knew. It can also be a symptom of unresolved grief, mourning for lost loved ones, for lost abilities, or for a version of ourselves that no longer exists. So, how do we break free? How do we honor our past without being imprisoned by it? The journey begins with a conscious shift in perspective. It's about learning to hold the past with gentle hands, not a clenched fist. The first step is to practice mindful remembrance. Instead of letting memories wash over you in an unstructured, all-consuming wave, approach them with intention. When you share a story from your past, think about why you are sharing it. What is the lesson, the emotion, or the value in that story that is relevant today? Instead of just stating, "I remember when we bought our first house," try framing it as, buying our first house taught me so much about taking a leap of faith, even when you're scared. It reminds me of the courage I see in you as you start your new career. By connecting your past experience to a present reality, the story is no longer a relic. It's a living piece of wisdom. You transform from a historian into a mentor. The second strategy is to become an active participant in the now. This requires a deliberate effort to cultivate curiosity. Curiosity is the antidote to being stuck. Ask your grandchildren about the video games they play, not with judgment, but with a genuine desire to understand their world. Ask your children about the challenges they're facing at work. Read about a new scientific discovery or a current event. You don't have to agree with everything, but the act of engagement keeps your mind sharp and your spirit connected. Make a point to create new memories. This doesn't have to be a grand adventure. It can be as simple as trying a new recipe, visiting a local park you've never been to, or joining a book club. The goal is to give your brain new material to work with, to prove to yourself that your story is still being written. Finally, practice gratitude for the present moment. At the end of each day, take a moment to identify 3 new things you are grateful for from that day alone. It could be the taste of your morning coffee, a pleasant conversation with a neighbor, or the beauty of a sunset. This simple exercise trains your brain to scan for the positive in your current environment, shifting your focus away from what's been lost and toward what you have right here, right now. It rewires your default setting from nostalgia to appreciation. By embracing these practices, you don't erase your past, you integrate it. You become a richer, more complex individual, a person with a deep well of experience who is also fully engaged with the vibrant, ever-unfolding tapestry of the present. You show your loved ones, and more importantly, yourself, that your journey is far from over. The road ahead is open, and it's waiting for you to create new landmarks. Part 2. The Graceful Dance with Change, your guide to thriving in a modern world. Change is the only constant in life, a rhythm that has been beating since the dawn of time. Yet, as we age, the tempo of that rhythm can feel like it's accelerating to a frantic pace, leaving us feeling breathless and out of step. The comfortable waltz of our youth has become a high-speed tango we never learned the moves to. This resistance to change is one of the most significant hurdles to a joyful later life. It's a wall we build brick by brick, often without realizing it, and it can isolate us from the world and from the people we love. This resistance isn't born from stubbornness. It's a deeply human response rooted in fear. There's the fear of losing independence, the worry that learning a new smartphone or a banking app is the first step toward admitting we can't manage on our own. There's the fear of becoming irrelevant, of our hard-won knowledge and skills being rendered obsolete by a new gadget or a new way of thinking. And there's the fear of losing control, of the predictable world we navigated so expertly being replaced by one whose rules seem foreign and chaotic. Saying, "I liked it better the old way," is often code for "I felt safer and more confident in the old way." This resistance can manifest in many forms. It can be the staunch refusal to get a smartphone, cutting us off from family photo streams, video calls, and instant communication. It can be a dismissal of new medical advice or wellness trends, potentially harming our health. It can be a social rigidity, a discomfort with evolving social norms that makes us seem judgmental and unapproachable to younger generations. Each act of resistance, each no to something new, adds another brick to that wall, making our world smaller and smaller. It creates tension in our relationships, as our loved ones try to share their world with us, only to be met with a closed door. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can learn to dance with change, to see it not as a threat, but as an invitation. It's about transforming our mindset from one of defense to one of discovery. The first, most crucial step is to start small and celebrate small wins. The idea of learning technology is overwhelming, but the idea of learning how to video call my granddaughter is specific, motivated by love, and achievable. Forget about mastering the entire ecosystem of a smartphone. Focus on one task. Ask a patient family member or a friend to guide you. When you succeed, when you see that smiling face on your screen, allow yourself to feel a genuine sense of accomplishment. That small victory builds confidence and creates a positive feedback loop. Maybe next week, you'll learn how to look up a recipe on YouTube. You're not trying to become a tech guru. You're simply adding tools to your life that bring you connection and convenience. The second strategy is to find your why. Change for the sake of change is meaningless, but change that serves a purpose is powerful. If you're skeptical of online banking, don't just focus on the intimidating interface. Focus on the why. The convenience of paying a bill from your armchair on a rainy day, the security of not having to carry large amounts of cash, or the ease of tracking your spending. If you're resistant to trying a new type of exercise like yoga or Tai Chi, don't focus on the unfamiliar movements. Focus on the why, the promise of better balance to prevent falls, increased flexibility to ease joint pain, or a calmer mind. When the benefit is clear and personal, the motivation to overcome the initial discomfort skyrockets. Third, adopt a beginner's mind. Remember when you were young and learning something for the first time? You didn't expect to be an expert on day one. You were allowed to be clumsy, to ask questions, to laugh at your mistakes. We need to give ourselves that same grace as seniors. It's okay not to know. It's okay to feel foolish for a moment. Shed the pressure of being the one who has all the answers. Embracing the role of the student is incredibly liberating. It keeps our brains plastic and our spirits humble. Find a younger person and say, "Can you explain this to me? I'm curious." You're not only learning a new skill, but you're also bridging a generational gap and showing that you value their knowledge. Finally, be selective. You don't have to embrace every new trend. Not every app, every slang word, or every social media platform is for you, and that's perfectly fine. The goal isn't to become someone you're not. It's about making discerning choices. The key is to evaluate a change based on a simple question. Will this enhance my life? Will it bring me more connection, more health, more joy, or more convenience? If the answer is yes, then it's worth exploring. If the answer is no, then you can confidently let it go without feeling like you're being left behind. By choosing curiosity over fear, we dismantle the wall of resistance brick by brick. We don't lose ourselves in the process, we expand ourselves. We remain the wise, experienced people we are, but we become people who can also navigate the modern world with confidence and grace. We learn the new steps, and we find that this dance with change can be an exhilarating and beautiful part of our life's journey. Part 3, the sacred act of self-care, honoring your body, nurturing your soul. In the grand narrative of our lives, we've been the heroes, the providers, the caretakers. We've poured our energy into our careers, our homes, and our families. But as the seasons of life shift, it's easy to let the habit of caring for others overshadow the critical need to care for ourselves. The gradual neglect of personal care is a delicate and often unspoken challenge of aging. It's not about vanity, it's about dignity. It's the quiet erosion of the rituals that make us feel human, vibrant, and worthy. And reclaiming them is one of the most powerful acts of self-respect we can perform. This decline in self-care rarely happens overnight. It's a slow fade, often driven by a combination of physical and emotional factors. Physically, simple tasks can become monumental. Arthritis can make buttoning a shirt or holding a toothbrush a painful ordeal. A fear of falling can turn the simple act of stepping into a shower into a source of high anxiety. Dwindling energy levels can make the effort of styling hair or putting on a nice outfit feel overwhelming, even pointless. Emotionally, the roots can run even deeper. A sense of "what's the point?" and can set in, especially for those who live alone or have a less active social life. The motivation to look and feel our best is often tied to our interactions with others. When those interactions dwindle, so can the motivation. Grief, depression, or a general feeling of being invisible can lead to a state of apathy where personal upkeep feels like a frivolous chore. The reflection in the mirror can become a stranger, a reminder of lost youth rather than a friend to be cared for. This neglect has a ripple effect. It impacts our physical health, as poor hygiene can lead to skin issues or infections. It chips away at our self-esteem, reinforcing feelings of worthlessness. And it strains our relationships, as loved ones may feel concerned, frustrated, or even put off, creating a cycle of shame and further isolation. Recommitting to self-care is not about chasing youth. It's about claiming your worth in the present moment. It's a declaration that you matter, that your well-being is a priority, The first step is to simplify and adapt. Your self-care routine doesn't need to look the way it did at 30. The goal is function and safety, not complexity. If standing in the shower is a challenge, invest in a good shower chair and a long-handled brush. These aren't signs of defeat. They are brilliant tools of empowerment that allow you to maintain your independence safely. If a full bath is too exhausting, a simple sponge bath with a warm cloth can be just as refreshing. Break tasks down. You don't have to do everything at once. Maybe today is just about having a proper wash, and tomorrow you'll focus on trimming your nails. The key is consistency, not intensity. Second, infuse pleasure back into the routine. For decades, these rituals may have been rushed, squeezed in between work and family obligations. Now, you have the gift of time. Transform the mundane into a moment of mindfulness and luxury. Use a scented soap that you love. Play your favorite music while you get ready in the morning. Take an extra minute to massage lotion into your hands. Buy a new, fluffy towel. These small touches shift the experience from a chore to a treat, from an obligation to an act of self-love. It's about signaling to your brain and body that this time is sacred and that you are worthy of this comfort. Third, dress with intention. The temptation to stay in pajamas or sweatpants all day is real, especially when you're not planning on going anywhere. But the act of getting dressed has a profound psychological impact. It signals to your mind that the day has begun, that you are ready to engage with it. You don't need to wear a suit and tie, but changing into clean, comfortable clothes that make you feel good about yourself can instantly lift your mood and shift your mindset from passive to active. Think of it as putting on your uniform for the day, a uniform that says, "I am present and I am ready." Finally, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask for help. There is no shame in admitting that you need a hand. Asking a family member for help with grocery shopping so you have nutritious food, or seeking assistance from an in-home care provider for a couple of hours a week to help with bathing, is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's an act of taking control of your well-being. Furthermore, professional help can be invaluable. A visit to a podiatrist for foot care or a trip to the barber or salon can do wonders for both your physical comfort and your morale. These professionals are equipped to handle the specific needs of older adults with compassion and expertise. By recommitting to the sacred act of self-care, you are doing more than just keeping clean. You are tending to your spirit. You are honoring the vessel that has carried you through a lifetime of experiences. You are looking in the mirror and saying, "You are still here, you are valuable, and you are worthy of care." This daily affirmation is the foundation upon which a dignified, joyful, and healthy life in your later years is built. Part 4. From complaint to gratitude. Rewiring your mind for joy. There's a subtle trap that many of us can fall into as we get older, the trap of the constant complaint. It often starts as a way to connect, a shared acknowledgement of life's aches and pains. We talk about the weather, the troublesome knee, the rising cost of groceries, or the way things aren't what they used to be. In small doses, it's a normal part of human conversation. But when this pattern of negativity becomes our primary mode of communication, it becomes a powerful, self-perpetuating poison. It colors our world in shades of gray, pushes away the very people we seek connection with, and robs us of the joy that is still so readily available. The habit of complaining is often a mask for other, deeper emotions. It can be a cry for attention, a way of saying, "See my struggle, acknowledge my pain." When we feel invisible or unheard, a complaint can feel like a flare gunshot into the darkness, a desperate signal for someone to notice us. It can also be a way to cope with a loss of control. We can't control our chronic arthritis or the political climate, but complaining about them gives us a temporary, albeit illusory, sense of agency. It's a verbal fist-shaking at a universe we can no longer command. Sometimes, it's simply a habit, a conversational script we've learned over the years. We get together with friends, and the litany of grievances begins because it's what we've always done. Whatever its root, the outcome is the same. A mind that is constantly scanning for the negative will always find it. We become detectives of discontent, meticulously gathering evidence to prove that things are bad. This negative filter doesn't just affect our mood, it affects our health. Studies have shown that chronic negativity and stress can increase inflammation, impact cardiovascular health, and weaken the immune system. Socially, it's draining for those around us. Our children, who are juggling their own complex lives, may start to limit their calls or visits because the emotional toll of listening to a constant stream of complaints is too high. Friendships can wither as people naturally gravitate toward more positive energy. We inadvertently build a fortress of frustration that keeps joy and other people out. The good news is that our brains are remarkably adaptable. We can consciously choose to carve new neural pathways, shifting our default mode from complaint to gratitude. This isn't about ignoring problems or pretending pain doesn't exist. It's about changing what we choose to magnify. The most transformative practice is to cultivate an active gratitude habit. This is more than just a passing thank you. It is a deliberate daily exercise. The most famous of these is the gratitude journal. Every single day, without fail, write down 3 to 5 specific things you are grateful for. The key here is specificity. Don't just write "my family." Write, "I'm grateful for the 10-minute phone call with my son today and the way his laughter made me smile." Don't write "my home." Write, "I'm grateful for the comfortable armchair where I can sit and read by the window." Specificity forces your brain to move beyond rote answers and actively seek out new points of light in your day. Another powerful technique is verbal gratitude. Make it a point to express your appreciation out loud. When the grocery store clerk is helpful, tell them. When a friend calls to check in, don't just launch into your ailments. Start by saying, "It's so good to hear your voice. Thank you for calling." When your spouse makes you a cup of coffee, thank them for that specific, small act of kindness. This practice does 2 things. It lifts the spirits of the other person, and it reinforces a positive feedback loop in your own brain. You are speaking joy into existence. Third, practice reframing. When you find yourself about to voice a complaint, pause for a moment. Acknowledge the negative feeling, but then challenge yourself to find an alternative perspective, a silver lining, however small. Instead of saying, "My knee is killing me today," you might say, "My knee is achy," which is frustrating, but I'm grateful that I have my comfortable recliner to rest in. Instead of complaining, "It's raining again. I can't go for my walk." Try, "It's a rainy day," which is a perfect excuse to stay in, listen to some music, and finally tackle that crossword puzzle. This isn't about self-deception. It's about exercising your power of choice. You are choosing not to let the negative element be the entire story. Finally, limit your exposure to negativity. Be mindful of your media diet. If the 24-hour news cycle consistently leaves you feeling angry and helpless, it's okay to turn it off. If a particular person in your social circle is a chronic complainer, it's okay to lovingly limit your time with them. Your mental and emotional energy is a precious resource. Protect it fiercely. Surround yourself with people, activities, and information that uplift and inspire you. Shifting from a mindset of complaint to one of gratitude is perhaps the most profound work we can do in our later years. It costs nothing, requires no physical strength, and is entirely within our control. It is the master key that unlocks a more peaceful heart, stronger relationships, and the ability to see the immense beauty that still exists in every single day of our Senior Wise journey. As we bring our time together to a close, let's reflect on the journey we've just taken. We've looked at the unspoken truths of aging not as final verdicts, but as invitations. Invitations to live more fully in the present, to dance gracefully with change, to honor ourselves with sacred self-care, and to choose gratitude over grievance. These are not small things. They are the very pillars of a life well lived at any age. The power to shape your golden years into your greatest years lies within you, in the small conscious choices you make every single day. The past has shaped you, but the present is yours to create. What is one small change, one new perspective you can embrace starting today? Your story is still being written, and the most beautiful chapters may be yet to come. If this message resonated with you, please help our community grow. Click that like button, subscribe to Senior Wise Journey for more content like this, and share this video with a friend who might need to hear it. Your wisdom and your journey matter. Thank you for being here.